morning. I'm Raleigh Brown. This is another concert dedicated to flattening the curve, i.e. trying to bring the COVID numbers down. Some folks call it the kerflattening, and they spell it like kerf, which is a thing that's on the inside of a guitar that holds the top on. But it's not that. So we got a crew here. Burks was first man in, Michael Anthony Wood and Swak. Margot Lemieux, the lovely Margot Lemieux. Bonjour, my dear. And Biggie, Big Dan, and Cozy Sheridan, my buddy and songwriting icon. Steve Snyder, Marshall Lowe, John Hubner, one of my oldest friends, well, one of my friends of longest standing, and Rusty Luthi. Did I get it right? I hope I did. And Steve Davidson and Judy Wong and Aretta Wauk and Carol Pred and Gary Wingard and Deborah Levy-Clark and my buddy Alex Bevan. I was really sorry that your technology broke down on you yesterday. I was all set to listen to your show. So Alex, I'm not sure what you're doing about tomorrow. I guess you'll be on tomorrow, but we'll talk about that later. Anyhow, let's get to work here. So, interesting bunch of stuff for you today. The first one, some of you may have heard when I did the British, the Birch Foundation show. This is not coffee. I got all coffeeed up earlier. This is hot water with honey and lemon, because this wood stove, which has been cranking it up to like 80 degrees in here, even though it's 20 outside for the last couple days, even though the fires have not been that big, the wood stove really dries things out. And I noticed last night, I was afraid I was going to have to do an instrumental set today. So I have that there. I think I'm going to be okay. So when I did the Birch thing, which I think some of you got to watch, and you can still go back to the Birch Foundation Facebook page and watch it. I'm the middle of three performers, so I come on about 50 minutes in or something like that. Although the other performers are great too. So anyhow, when I did that, I only did one actual Birch song, because I thought the people who are watching it, a lot of them are Birch fans. They've heard him do those songs. I don't need to do them. So I did other stuff. But for you, I will do one of my favorite Birch songs, and it's Reynardine, and Reynardine is has morphed into. Originally, it was just one of those. How do you describe it? One of those folk songs about a cad who takes advantage of a young woman, and then it has morphed into, by virtue of a song collector in England named A.L. Lloyd. He turned it into a kind of werewolf song by changing just a couple little lines in it. And I think he claimed that was the way it originally was, but everybody seems to agree that he made that up. So when Bert recorded this, he did the old version, which is not werewolfy. And but when his friend Ann Briggs did it, she did the version with the werewolf lines in it, and I'm with her on this one. And but when it comes to the guitar accompaniment, you got to go with Bert. What a great arrangement he did. And so that the original one was, kind of ladies love outlaws, and the newer one is ladies love outlaws, but they adore outlaws who are werewolves. So here it is, Reynardine. One evening as I rambled among the spring and thyme, I overheard a young woman converse with Reynardine. Her hair was black, her eyes were blue, her lips as red as wine, and he smiled as he looked upon her, did the sly old Reynardine. He said, my man, please be civil, my company forsake, for in my true opinion, I believe you are a rake. Oh no, my dear, I am no rake, brought up in Venus train, but I'm searching for concealment, all from the judge's men. Her rosy cheeks, her ruby lips, they lost their former dye, and she fell into his arms then, all on the mountain high. He had not kissed her once or twice, till she came to again, and modestly she asked him, pray tell to me your name. He said, my dear, if you ask for me, perhaps you'll not me find, but I'll be in my green castle, pray inquire for reynardine. By day and night she followed him, his teeth so bright did shine, and he led her over the mountain, did the sly bold reynardine. Did the sly bold reynardine. So that's reynardine, and there's a couple lines in there which are real interesting. There's a line that goes, he said, "Oh no, my dear, I am no rake brought up in Venus train," and it's another line that Bert changed, but that Anne Briggs sang. And apparently, being brought up in Venus train meant that you were raised among prostitutes, and just a little sidebar to that. You know, years and years ago, I knew Michael Cooney. Some of you on here probably remember Michael, and he's still around. I think he's up in Maine doing something or other, and very interesting character. But he would always have a lot to tell you about the history of the songs he sang, and I'm afraid I could turn into him as I grow older. So the lyric in that song, which turns it into the werewolf song, is there's two things. One is it's he said, my dear, if you look for me, perhaps you'll not me find, but I'll be in my green castle. In other words, I'll be in the forest, instead of saying I will be in my castle. And then by day and night, she followed him. Original said her eyes so bright did shine, or something like that, but A.L. Lloyd changed to his teeth so bright did shine. It's brilliant. He changed two words, and the whole song has another whole supernatural aspect built into it. Now, while I'm in drop D, I'm going to do the instrumental for you today. And this is an instrumental I wrote. It's called Resurrection, and I called it Resurrection because at the time I had not quite figured out that I had focal dystonia. I didn't know what was going on with my right hand, and I was constantly working on, it wasn't working the way I wanted it to, so I was constantly working on trying to resurrect it. So this was one of my little projects with that. And I still like this tune, even though I wrote it. Let's take a quick look here. Jay Peterson is here. Michael Cooney is in Friendship, Maine, pretty much retired. If you see him, Jay, tell him Raleigh Brown said hi. He was a really wonderful person to me a long time ago. He met me because he came out and played at the Kent State Folk Festival once or twice, and he really was supportive of my guitar playing at that time. And he was kind of a big folk star, and I was this college kid. And then later we ran into each other at different places. And I'll tell you this story since I'm going to be long-winded today, apparently. I was at the Mariposa Folk Festival, and I was traveling on a motorcycle and a BMW that I was riding across the country. So this would have been 1976. And I had with me a cheap Japanese, like a Yairi Triple O or OM model guitar. And just for laughs, it was like $100 guitar. Just for laughs, I had taken a BMW Insignia and put it on the headstock, like right there. This was before people really knew about BMW cars. Like BMW motorcycles were the thing, you know. And so I had this Insignia on it, and Michael and I ran into each other at Mariposa, and we were saying hello, and he suddenly looked at his watch and said, "Oh shit, my guitar's over on the other side, and I got to do this workshop." So I said, "Well, you can use this if you want, you know." And he said, "Oh, thanks." So he took it. So he got up on stage. This was at a time when you were starting to see Suzuki guitars and Yamaha guitars, both motorcycle companies. So he gets up on stage with a BMW guitar, and I've always wondered what people thought about that. But I could go on. This is Resurrection. So that's Resurrection. And those of you who are in the know probably can tell that there should be a tip of the hat to Joseph Spence, the great Bahamian guitarist, and to Reverend Gary Davis in there. Resurrection, Reverend. This thing, I don't like tea. Do you like tea? I like coffee. But hot water with lemon and honey, pretty darn good. Okay, so we're done with the drop D part. Let me say hello to some people here. Where were we? Michael Tierson's there, Claude Galinsky, who says Shades of Spence. He picked right up on that. Carol Pred says she always loves my instrumentals. I'm so fond of you saying that, Carol. Barbara Dean had no ideas about BMW guitars. Yeah, that was funny. Cindy Dinsmore's here. Cindy Dinsmore, along with Dave Fry, are the central figures from the beginning of Godfrey Daniels Coffee House in Bethlehem, PA, and which is a great little venue, kind of a throwback to the days when coffee houses were places where people came and listened to music. Jeanette's on there with John. John Stritzinger's here. Hey, lots of people here today. Now, Pam Zappardino, you must have come over from Kokomo. Kokomo's right there. It says, maybe the werewolf song is just extolling the virtues of using toothpaste. Yeah, you could look at it that way if you want. I'm going with the other explanation myself. Yeesh. Okay, so who else we got here? Donna Greenberg. Lauren Payne. Lauren Payne's mom rode a BMW 650 for years. Now, it was actually a 600. There were no 650 unless it was after 1973. But it could have been an R69S, which was the high-performance 600, or it could have been an R60 like my first bike was, the low-performance one. Michael Tierson remembers Michael Cooney with great affection. We all do. And we don't have to remember him. He's still here. Donna Zach Beal is here. Okay, I'm going to keep going here because hi, Cliff Wagner, and I know Ann Mintz is here, and Mike Verbeek, and Andy Cohen. And and Andy Cohen was at the Kent Folk Festival the same year. You want to put your head up here? Here's the dog. There she is, Suki the dog, making trouble. Oh, there she goes. Oh, there went. Oops. She almost unplugged everything. So we're going to go into standard tuning. She's doing her flippy floppy thing now. It's too much trouble to turn the camera on, but she's adorable when she lays on her back and goes like that. Terry Roach, nice to see you here, my dear. I rode right into a wall. Yeah, that's it's one of the little drawbacks of motorcycling is you can easily kill yourself on them. And I gave up riding about 3 or 4 years ago because I decided after riding since 1970. I decided that the fun factor, which used to be up here, and the danger factor, which was kind of down here, they had kind of shifted because of people driving and looking at their cell phones and roads not being taken care of, all kinds of gravel and shit. And that became more dangerous and therefore less fun. Sold my last BMW 2 years ago. Sometimes I still think about it a little bit. So I wrote this song a long time ago, and it's really... it's actually more of a fragment than a song. I think there was a third verse, but I do not remember it. And I'm going to try and renovate it. But it's particularly relevant to me right now. And I think a lot of you who are guitar players will kind of sympathize with it. Oh, there goes the dog. There goes the she's active today. So many nights, how many I can't say, me and this old guitar drove the blues away. The ladies treat me badly, you know I've had my share. Well, they want you when you're leaving them, and they leave you when you care. Singing damned if I don't, and damned if I do. I'll be damned if this old guitar hasn't always seen me through. I had a broken heart, it was so hard to learn that the woman I was loving didn't love me in return. Some folks might turn to drinking, or some to suicide, but I'll be damned if this old guitar wasn't always by my side. Singing damned if I don't, and damned if I do. I'll be damned if this old guitar hasn't always seen me through. Singing damned if I don't, and damned if I do. Well, I'll be damned if this old guitar hasn't always seen me through. So that's kind of a fragment. I actually had not played it, so I was kind of making up the chord progression there. I hope it didn't go too far astray for you all. So announcements. So tomorrow night, I will be the special guest of the Girls from Mars, who are a wonderful trio of women who sing great harmonies, and who I happen to know are count as one of their biggest influences, Terry Roach's family band, the Roaches. So they do all kinds of cool stuff, and yes, Suki is breathing along. It's part of the deal here. This is what, this is like Stephen Colbert doing the Tonight Show from his living room. You get some stuff that wouldn't be in the slicker version. Anyhow, I'll be the special guest on that show. Go to my page, the Raleigh Brown Facebook page, and scroll down, and you'll see a link for the show, The Girls from Mars with special guest Raleigh Brown. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the YouTube, page from which the show will be beamed, YouTube Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Kokomo Kid, who's here with us, Guy Davis, the great blues everything, blues raconteur, blues guitar player, blues songwriter, blues singer. He will be on tomorrow morning at 10. And on Tuesday, Cozy Sheridan and Charlie Koch will do their 10:30 stream, and I will do my 3 o'clock show. And I think Alex, if he's up and running, will do 3:30 tomorrow. And he said he will do his Christmas show on December 23rd now. So put that on your calendar. That'll be good. I'm going to do a song by my old friend Tom Galla now for you. And it's a song... Tom is an a cappella singer, and when he first wrote this, I sat with him and came up with an accompaniment. He's an extraordinary guy and a Philadelphia treasure, really a remarkable human being. And I will try to get through this. So you can keep hope for the future. Well, that old shackamaxon street, sugar refinery, it's just a place by the river where I sometimes go. And every season they just float by, the channels filled with broken ice. Today's the day that wintertime she finally let go. Yeah, today's the day that winter let go. Now there's swollen buds on the poplar trees, on the worn-out pier at Noble Street, and there ain't no winter shadows on the red warehouse walls. And like half-forgotten make-believe, old sorrow, nonsense, lies and grief, the sharp frozen boulders, they roll down to the sea. Let them all go out and down to the sea. I've waited so long for the springtime. I've waited for the love in your eyes. I've waited so long for the springtime. I've waited for the love in your eyes. Now that old shackamaxon street, sugar refinery, it's just a place by the river where I sometimes go. And every season they just float by, the channel's deep and the tide is high, and today's the day that wintertime she finally let go. Yeah, today's the day that winter let go. That old Shackamaxon Street by Tom Gala. So thank you so much for joining me today, as always. Let me see if I can switch to my special halo camera. I don't know if that light is on, though, is it? Yep, it is. There, I have my halo. I have to get right down there. So I love you all for being here with me. Stay safe, stay sane. Go watch all the people I mentioned earlier, and tune in tomorrow night to hear the Girls from Mars at 8 p.m. That's going to be a great show, and you're going to hear something which you rarely hear: a lapsed bar mitzvah boy with Taoist Buddhist leanings playing a couple Christmas songs. So I will see you then. Stay safe, stay sane, and if you get cranky, as my friend Alex would say, take a nap.